So Ariom, remember back in chapter 63 where I took games and mixed them together to create something really special?
Like when you put the fajitas and ground lamb in that hamburger helper?
Just like that.
I'm thinking you're gonna run it back with a Halloween flair.
I have to with how easy the horror genre bleeds into everything. It's just an expansive and plausible genre, is it not?
Well, pretty girl, let's jump in the booth and kick things off.
What's up, scholars? Moira here, and welcome to Book of Showtime Chapter 86. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to leave a like and share with your friends. And if you have a topic you'd like me to cover for Book of Showtime, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below, or anywhere you can reach me on social media or the Book of Showtime Discord. So this time around, I'm revisiting an older chapter concept, but as is the theme this month, giving it a horror game focus. I had a blast doing it last time, and the first concept on this list sparked the idea. Let's start by mixing Lollipop Chainsaw with House of the Dead. The nucleus of this chapter was indeed Lollipop Chainsaw, as I felt the completely unserious but serious nature and pacing of the game would be perfect in a railgun format, and the House of the Dead series is already an unserious zombie-killing rail shooter, so these two seem like a match made in heaven.
Oh hell.
That also brings up a question I've been wanting to ask. Your existence, am I going to hell?
Keep lying on your tax return and you'll find out yourself.
Hey, if the 1% can get a break, why can't I? The main thing for this fantasy game is to maintain the pace of the original House of the Dead games. The remakes very clearly slow it down to make it easier for a controller, and I understand, but it makes the games a little too easy. But the vibrant style of Lollipop Chainsaw, where the graphics just kinda pop at you, they would translate so well to a rail shooter format.
Poor House of the Dead 2 remake, such a travesty.
Yeah, maybe third time's the charm? But the Sterling family, they got all types of guns, all types of quips, so the cadence of the game would be more in line with House of the Dead Overkill than the earlier works, but hey, we can always use some more rail shooters.
Why do trans girls like rail shooters?
Why does the sun shine? Why does the rooster crow in the morning? Why do the New York Jets never have good quarterback play? Some things are just the way they are, my dear. Next up, let's mix Resident Evil with The Division. The Division has been on my mind a bit lately, and being that it had a Resident Evil crossover, I thought, what if you had this game take place in a zombie outbreak? The BSAA could replace the Division, and players would have to work tirelessly to rid the city of infected and bioweapons to avoid yet another Raccoon City type incident.
Seriously, why was the Division on your mind, Moira?
Well, I like the aesthetic of the Division, the UI and the world building, they're pretty neat.
What about the rest of the game?
Can you just shut up and let me work?
Fine, but this is still perplexing.
Resident Evil has tried many times to break into the multiplayer market, and so far nothing has worked, but I think a nice co-op experience with a lengthy campaign could be a really fun time.
And this is supposed to be the one that gets Resident Evil into multiplayer?
This right here is why I won't kiss you. You don't support my ideas.
Wow, what a great idea, Moira.
Nah, stand on business, ugly.
Ugly?
Sorry, I didn't really mean that. Let's just move on. Let's remix Outlast Trials with Umbrella Corps.
Wow, Moira, you may have created the worst game ever.
Okay, hold on. I know this is weird, but hear me out. These games sort of have a few things going for them, and I think if you take two meh games and put their strengths together, it could be something special. I think the PvPvE nature of Umbrella Corps is cool, with some of the movement systems being nice, and you know what, I know the animations were bad and a little too fluid, but the way you can use cover and open doors was really interesting. I think Umbrella Corps had a lot of potential to be good. Not great or anything, but I think the fundamentals were there to have a serviceable spin-off title. The Outlast Trials, it just has terrible pacing, and it kinda makes me not want to play the game anymore. I had one match stretch over 50 minutes.
Could it be that maybe you're just stupid?
In my defense, I was doing all the work for two people.
Women and accountability.
You're a girl too.
Yes, but you can't cancel a dead person.
They did try to cancel John Wayne during the pandemic. The Outlast Trials, it's one of those games that in theory should be really fun, but in practice it's just So mixing two games into a game, I mean, think of it, hands off my thighs, please.
The biscuits have to be made, Moira.
Think of a tactical shooter where you have to focus on keeping your batteries charged while navigating a perilous environment, but replace the zombies of Umbrella Corps with the weirdos of Outlast, or just Ariom and Heat, I guess.
Hey, you're the one walking around looking so scrumptious.
You mean walking around normally? You really shouldn't fetishize your friends.
Lame.
My last mix today, and this is a big one, Sons of the Forest, mixed with Red Dead Redemption, mixed with State of Decay, mixed with Farming Simulator.
Wow, for but you weren't lying about it being big.
Yeah, this is a lot, but hear me out. I like what all these games have to offer in one way or another, so let's break it down game by game. For starters, it is a must that the game is set in the Wild West.
Please don't talk about Evil West again.
Oh, you best believe I wanted to. I'm about to play through it again. It's such a great game. Anyway, I love Wild West horror stuff, so being a gunslinging cowgirl fighting creatures is already a must for me. Recently, I started playing Sons of the Forest, and I really like the scavenging and base building mechanics the game offers. I love doing any type of base building stuff, period, but where Sons of the Forest takes place in modern times with all types of special gear to help, doing things like this in the late 1800s would be a lot tougher. Now, while there is a bit of base building in Sons of the Forest, the game is a little lonely because there aren't a lot of friendly faces around that you can recruit. This is where State of Decay comes in. Now, you may be wondering, Moira, State of Decay offers a lot of what you ask, and this is true, by the way, but the gameplay and combat pale in comparison to that of Red Dead and Sons of the Forest.
State of Red Sons would be a cool title.
That's good. A little too commie, but still sounds good. State of Decay, like I was saying, the base managing is really good in that game. Going out and finding not just other survivors, but the right survivors, like doctors and engineers, people that can actually help you sustain your settlement.
Have you even played Farming Simulator?
Hell no, you ain't gonna catch me picking any crops. But still, Farming Simulator offers, and this is gonna sound silly out loud, the best farming experience, and you're going to need a strong farm if you are to survive the apocalypse. All four of these games will bring something really special to the table when it comes to building the perfect game where you survive against the undead.
Would you let me stay in your settlement, Moira?
I think I would, Ariom. You are kind of growing on me.
I'd rather grow in.
Yeah, stop. See, look, I gave you an inch and you took a damn mile. You give people rope and they want to be cowboys. Now, to wrap up the video, let's take a dive into what the community has to say. First, Zeta says Pokemon and SCP would go great together. For example, you could take some of the Pokemon with dark Pokédex entries and set them in the SCP universe and setting. It'll be interesting to see how SCP would handle some of the more scary and dangerous Pokemon. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know all the SCP lore because I don't think anyone does really. There'll just be some dude that says, hey, here's a giant whale that takes up about 60% of the planet that can destroy everything with its mind. So, yeah, I don't even know how to contain these things to begin with.
You keep me contained, Moira.
Sure? I think you're just playing along. I still kinda don't trust you.
I can't just be a lady.
Yeah, like either of us have any class. Now, there is a risk with any game being like Pokemon because Nintendo is ready to sue, but Pal World is still going strong, so yeah, I would like to see this. Ben says asymmetrical horror game in the Star Wars universe would be great. I've talked about this with legendary civil rights activist Tyler, and we came up with ideas for Vader in a starship, and the survivors will be rebels trying to escape. The world of Star Wars lends itself to any genre, and horror is a must. Battlefront 2 actually had a mode sort of like this, where the stormtroopers have to escape the Ewoks at night, and it's elimination style. If you die, you become an Ewok. That was really cool. I'm surprised there really hasn't been a lot of horror projects in the Star Wars franchise with all the creatures they have, not to mention how ruthless and methodical the Sith are. It kind of writes itself.
Now that the mouse owns them, we may never see such a thing.
And like my man Jesse Jackson would say, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Entity says this might just be because I have recurring slasher film style dreams of him, but I reckon The Undertaker could at least be part of a horror game, if not the main focus of one. That's a crazy dream to have, not gonna lie. I hope it's prime Prince of Darkness Undertaker and not Mark the Podcaster like he is now.
I think being chased by a podcaster in 2025 is more horrifying than dealing with the Undertaker.
Yeah, he lost all his aura. All of it. I miss what he kept to himself.
I hope you never lose your aura, pretty girl.
I know you're trying to sweet talk me, but look, I never had aura to begin with. Now, we actually did touch up on this last time you were here with a mention of the Road to WrestleMania in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 where you face off against Taker, and that did creep me out as a kid. So much that I kept my door open, and I never keep my door open.
Can you start?
Can you stop? Ruby says I would combine Ready or Not with SCP. Imagine being an MTF field agent hunting down anomalous creatures, objects, and forces to contain them, just for them to cut through your squad like butter if you aren't careful, and options to contain or destroy the anomaly. Ready or Not's slow tactical gameplay lends itself well to a game like this, where once your squad is dealing with the anomaly face to face, there's no running. You either adapt, destroy, or die. Could also be similar to Phasmophobia, but with violence as an option. Okay, so we have another SCP suggestion, but this one's a little bit more up my alley. I'm not into Pokemon as much anymore, but I am foaming at the mouth for more milsim or tactical horror games. I get really immersed in both genres. I did want a Rainbow Six and Phasmo crossover in the original Remix chapter, so this would be the one I'm most interested in seeing.
A girl after your own black heart.
Ruby's the body horror Barbie for a reason.
Can I be a Barbie too?
You're more a Bratz the way you get on my nerves.
So mean.
Alright, scholars, thank you so much for watching this chapter. Let me know down below what horror game remixes you would like to see. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next chapter.
Do I have to sleep on the couch tonight, Moira?
The rest of the week.
Can we still play Stratego?
Alright, fine, but if I think you're cheating again, I'm throwing the board away.